Here we are on Good Friday. We come to the Gospel of Matthew, the 27th chapter. The verses we're looking at today are verses 11 through 66. It's when Jesus is questioned before Pilate, and we find the crowd who asked for Barabbas instead of releasing Jesus, because it was custom to release one person during that season. And so they cried for Barabbas. And so then Pilate hands Jesus over to be crucified. Verse 24 begins, "So when Pilate saw that he could do nothing, but rather that a riot was beginning, he took some water and washed his hands before the crowd, saying, 'I am innocent of this man's blood. See to it yourselves.' Then the people as a whole answered, 'His blood be on our hands and our children.' So he released Barabbas. After the flogging, he handed Jesus over to be crucified. Then the soldiers of the governor took Jesus into the governor's headquarters, and they gathered the whole cohort around him. They stripped him and put a scarlet robe on him. And after twisting some thorns into a crown, they put it on his head. They put a reed in his right hand and knelt before him and mocked him, saying, 'Hail, King of the Jews!' They spat on him. They took the reed and struck him on the head. And after mocking him, they stripped him of the robe, put on his own clothes, and they led him away to crucify him." Jesus came to love and to share that love with us. He came to give himself for us. And in the midst of all of this torture and everything that went on, he said not a word. He accepted what was there. And he calls on us to forgive. I love the story of Corrie ten Boom. You'll remember that she survived the Holocaust, but her family didn't. They were Dutch Christians, and they were caught. They were caught by the Nazis for hiding Jews in their home. And she watched from Auschwitz as she barely survived, but saw the slaughter of so many. Following the war, she wrote her book, The Hiding Place, and in that she shares the story of her family. She gained popularity and notoriety, and she spoke to thousands upon thousands. One evening, after she had spoken about the forgiveness of Christ, a man approached her whom she recognized as one of the guards from Auschwitz. She immediately felt the horror, the pain, and the hatred from the persecution. He told her that he had listened to her talk and informed her that he had been a guard at the death camp. She told him she recognized him. Crying, he asked if she might forgive him with the forgiveness of Christ that she spoke of. She thought to herself that she couldn't, but she remembered the command of Christ to love your enemy and to forgive 70 times 7 the person who has wronged you. She prayed that Jesus might give her strength to forgive the man. As she prayed, and she felt a sensation begin in her heart and flow through her hand as it touched his. Then she heard herself saying, "In the name of Christ, I forgive you." The man, of course, collapsed to his feet and he wept. And he just offered up a prayer of thanksgiving. And she later went on to discover that this man had become a minister of the gospel and that he had led many to Christ over his time. You know, we never know how far God can spread the love that we give. Even in the midst of terrible things, an act of love coming from that can change lives. We love our enemies because we recognize that Christ, he died for those who put the crown of thorn on his head, who beat him and flogged him. We love our enemies because Christ loved them too, and because we know that the power of love is stronger than any depth to which we can fall. God bless you. I hope you have had a wonderful Lent. a time of drawing near to God. And I hope that you're prepared for that victorious Sunday proclamation. Christ is risen. He is risen indeed.